that bar.
That extra gear, that first 3 steps.
Huge strides in the performance.
That I might not be the player I am today.
All right, welcome to another episode of Behind the Gear. And today we got one of our reoccurring guests here, Kevin Galerno. Kev is a skills coach, obviously, with in London, Ontario. Works with London Knights a little bit, and obviously a lot of minor hockey associations and players in the area. But today we thought we'd kind of chat a little bit more about what happens as you go through minor hockey, and then you get to that junior level, that potential college level, CHL level, and then AHL, NHL. And we got a cool guest coming on today, Michael McCarron, who's with the Montreal Canadiens, playing Laval this year. Unfortunately, he's injured. So, fortunate for us, unfortunate for him, but we get him on the couch today and we get a chance to chat with him a little bit and kind of get his perspective on what it was like to go through those levels and kind of what happened to him on his journey. But for you, I mean, obviously you kind of talked a little bit about your story before, but what are some of the things you noticed as you were going from minor hockey to that jumping into like even minor midget and then into junior? Do you remember kind of that, how different it was when you made when you kind of made that jump?
I do. I think everyone's so in their own bubble. I look back now, and if I was to put myself in those shoes, I only remember, how I looked at it then. And I probably don't spend enough time now looking back as a skills coach, right? When you asked that question, the first thing I thought was like, oh yeah, I remember everyone at every level telling me I was too small. Right. You can't play. And found a way to play, midget AAA and then junior and then eventually college and, a little bit in Europe, which was great. But when I look back now, I'm like, why was I able to do that? And I think the first thing was I loved it, and I think you can relate to players that you see, whether it's junior player, minor hockey players or London Knight players or AHL players, NHL players. And you probably can pick out the guys that loved it right away. Love it. And not to say that NHL players don't love it. I think some might love the money and some might love the game. Some really love the game. But I think the biggest thing that I look back on now is I loved trying to always get to that next level.
Yeah.
And that's what kept me going. That's why I wish looking back now I had someone like you or me to say, hey, you're not good at this.
Yeah.
Do this better. But I think that's the biggest thing. I loved it. And now watching guys that want to get better, when they love it, it's how you get better.
And you know what? I played men's league on Sundays. Well, and that locker room's full of guys that love the game and they never played at any level, right? So I think with that love, though, there's got to be work ethic there, right?
For sure, yeah.
And I think one of the reasons why you played above a lot of the other guys that were 6'2", 6'3", is you worked harder than them. And I know for me, that's exactly why I played. I wasn't the most skilled guy, and but I played at a high level because I worked harder than most of the guys that I was around. And you're the same way, right? So as you go into that next level, I know for me, when I went in from let's say midget to junior, it was intimidating. Number one, you're playing against older guys, strong guys, bigger players. There was back when I played a little bit more fighting and toughness to it, which I never really fought before. So that was all new. And it was definitely, you totally get out of your comfort zone. Cause you go from being a bit of a big dog in minor hockey where you're, maybe one of the top 4 or 5 players on your team. And then all of a sudden now you go to junior and you're a rookie and you're, for me, I wasn't the top dog. I was, recruited and I was there, but there's really good players on those teams. Right. So it's a bit of, kind of puts you back in your place, right? It kind of,
you probably were similar to me where we weren't, every minor midget team wasn't trying to get us to switch cities to come to play for them. Every junior team wasn't like, hey, come for me. I had to fight my way onto a minor midget team. I had to fight my way onto it, not literally fight, but like I had to battle to be there, just make the team. And then I had to try to get ice time, get in the lineup, then try to get more ice time. And then I didn't have colleges knocking my door down, you know what I mean? The Division I schools trying to say, hey, come here. No, I went on a couple visits, went on a couple D3 visits, but when I say love the game, I loved it. And then I loved being there and having to fight to stay and battle to get better and eventually be on the, first or second line or power play and then eventually get a scholarship. So when I say love it, I mean, that's what drove me to get better. Sure, and even as a coach now, like I love being on the ice and, we joke about it all the time, maybe not at six hours at a time, but like, we love being on the ice. And why are you doing this? Why are you talking about the game? You love talking about the game. You love, we go on the ice sometimes. We're like, hey, try this. I saw this. Let's get better. Let's try this with kids. Let's make them better. Let's make us better. So we just love the game.
Oh,
and that's what makes you better.
Yeah, I know. And I totally agree. And I think also, evolving with the game a little bit too, right? But you talk about what we went through because we have similar stories as far as being smaller guys and playing back I played before the rules changed a little bit. So it was a lot more clutching, grabbing. It was just a different style of hockey. But going with the young kids now is trying to find a kid who has that love for the game, but then also has a passion to put the time in, the shooting pucks, working out, all those other little things that are going to make them better.
Yeah.
And times changed since you were a kid, or I was a kid, where there's not a skill development coach in every corner, where now there's a skill development coach in every block. Every block has 4 or 5 of them, and you can go here, anywhere you want. So the kids are getting exposed to a lot more skill. I mean, look at some of these young kids, how skilled they are.
Crazy.
In minor hockey. It's nuts. And my thing with a lot of these young kids are their skills unbelievable, but are they going to be mentally tough enough to be able to play at that next level? Making that jump from minor hockey to junior is a big jump. And every kid that wants to play at a high level is going to have to do it at one point, whether it's to the OHL or the Q or or whatever it is, right? You're going to have to make that jump at one point. And are you going to be tough enough mentally to be able to do what you need to do to get there? Skill set wise, most of them are going to be okay. They can skate well, they can shoot well. But are you mentally tough enough to be able to make that jump? Because when you look at minor hockey to junior, it's the same kids. They're a year older. They're moving into junior. But what are some of the biggest differences between minor hockey and junior? Mom and dad are a little bit more removed for the most part. Hopefully, yeah. So now it's on the kids to kind of fend for themselves, ask the coaches more about ice time, ask the coaches more about what's going on. And then also the game's faster. It's stronger, it's bigger, it's faster at the junior level. Whether it's junior B, junior C, moving up to junior.
And you're playing, and you said it, but all the way up until you get to junior, you're pretty much playing against kids your same age.
Yeah.
Only. That's it. So there may be bigger kids and smaller kids and stronger kids, but they're all your same age. Now you could be looking at kids, if you're playing, junior rate when you start, you could be looking at playing against a 19-year-old defenseman as a small forward or a big forward, whatever. And that, I think, changes everything right there.
For sure.
Like that that's a whole new ball of, wow, I'm playing against someone 3 years old. 2 years ago, I couldn't imagine of playing against someone 2 years older than me. And now I just, all of a sudden like that, I have to do it.
Yeah.
What are you going to do to be able to keep up or, be able to battle against that person?
No, exactly. Do you remember when you went to junior, your first couple years of junior, do you remember your first kind of conflict as far as maybe whacking a guy and that guy didn't just like turn away and move, but he whacked you back and then you got into it and potentially, got into an altercation or a fight or whatever. Do you remember any of those first kind of experiences of that happening? Because minor hockey is a little bit different. You're protected by referees, coaches. It's not really, how often you see major fights in minor hockey once in a while, maybe, right? But junior is a little bit more, it's a little different, obviously. But do you remember your first kind of big conflict or your big kind of fight or how that went?
Absolutely. Like, I think everyone does. I think anyone who says they don't is probably lying and it didn't go well for them. And, true. Mine did not go well for me either, but I do remember it. It was a junior B tryout and I was underage and I didn't even know what was happening until it was half over. And it was a defenseman on the other team. I'll never forget. I just went to the net and I don't even think I knew what I was doing. I probably just, I went in and I probably, gave the goalie a little stick, whatever, and a loose puck that maybe wasn't loose, whatever. And before I knew it, he was, we were wearing cages then and he's pulling at my cage and I'm like, whoa, don't know what's happening. He's way bigger than me, way stronger. And turns out he was a guy that was just trying to make the team, on the other side as a tough guy. And didn't work out for him because I was 5'0", like 100 nothing. And I ended up running into him later. We both ended up playing against each other and having mutual friends later. And he got cut because of it. Because he basically picked on the guy that didn't belong there.
Right.
But and I remember it was so quick because he was so much bigger and stronger that he just threw me around a little bit. And I got in the room and that's when my adrenaline hit when I was back in the, game in the dressing room. It was so quick and over. I was like, why can't it happen? Like I was still confused but I'll never forget it. And it comes up like every couple of years we run into this bunch of guys from Kitchener-Waterloo area where it happened and it's kind of a joke. Yeah. It's a big joke, but I think it's hilarious and it was awesome. I'm glad I didn't get hurt the first time it ever happened. Yeah. But it was good. Do you remember yours? Yeah, I remember same thing. I was in tryouts. I was trying out, I think in Waterloo it was, and we were in an exhibition game, same idea. And, it was the third period of a junior game in an exhibition. So there's like 3 fights, 4th fight. I'm going down the boards. Guy hits me, kind of hit him back, and we end up fighting. Terrible fight, like slap fest, basically, just open hand and trying to didn't know what we were doing. But the same thing, go to locker room, and there's 4 guys already kicked out of the game. You're pumped up. You get in there, you're high five, and it's like, oh man, this is amazing, Fast forward the next year, I ended up playing in Markham, junior in like the junior tier 2 loop, and
We're talking about fights, same thing. A bunch of us are sitting around after a game. We're talking about fights, a first fight. And I start telling the story of my first fight. Well, the guy beside me, who's a rookie as well, he started telling the story, and it was the same fight. I had to fight him. Yeah. Awesome. So we're like, no, like it was hilarious. So we're like, that was me, man. And so we went back and forth and ended up being.
How great is that?
Yeah, like, and now we're teammates, good buddies. Yeah. Like it was just, and I got into a lot of, not that I was tough, but I ended up playing that style of game a little bit once in a while, and I'd get into scuffles or fights. And 99% of the time when I met those guys afterwards, they were great guys, talked, they were always off the ice, real good guys, right? But
just like you, I'm sure if you talk to a lot of the guys you played against, like, that guy's a prick. Man.
Yeah.
He was like, whatever. Yeah. And like you said, in the old days when you could lay your stick on guys, but then meeting you, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, and also too, I think like being a smaller, undersized guy, you always had a bit of a chip on your shoulder, and you're always like, how many times you get like small man syndrome? Yeah. Oh, hey, what's a midget? Like, relax, elf. Like, and people just carving you, and like you're always grumpy because you're small. Yeah. You're always upset, like and which I was probably an angry guy playing sometimes, But that's what helped me play better. That's what, for me personally, I had to get into a game by getting into guys' faces a bit, talking a little bit, trash talking a bit, and getting into it. And that's kind of what helped me get through it, especially making those jumps to that next level every single time. I remember my first game of pro out of college. We were playing this first time, like visor, cage came off. Back then we had no visor, just a helmet. I'm loving it, ripping on the ice, feeling the wind, thinking I'm cool. And going in on a forecheck, ended up hitting a guy as I'm coming off the ice. As I'm coming up the ice, guy whacks me. Turn around, whack him back, give him a little F you, kind of chirp back and forth, go back to the bench. One of the vets comes over to me, he's sitting beside me. He's like, hey, Blazer, do you know who that was? I'm like, no, I had no idea. He's like, that was Dennis Vial. Like, he's a tough guy in the NHL, man. Like, just let him sleep. Go. Yeah, legit. Yeah. He just looks at me, he's like, just let him sleep. Like, we don't need him to wake up. Like, as he's telling me this, I'm like, thank God he didn't get mad, or I didn't push too much, because I would have got my face pounded in,
But again, he was up all night with his kids and his wife, so he didn't want to pick on the new guy.
No, exactly. He's 6 coffees deep, just like I don't want to even be here right now. Yeah. But again, like so now let's kind of fast forward a little bit. So obviously as you move and as you get going, as you're moving up, you're getting better. You're practicing at a better level in junior, practicing at a better level as you're, going through the season, going through your years of doing that. What was the biggest difference you noticed going from, for us both, we went from junior to college. What was the biggest difference you noticed going from junior hockey to college hockey? Were there any like major things that stood out to you?
Like right away, speed.
Yeah.
The speed of the game was just like, it was crazy, I thought.
Yeah.
And I was always known as a fast, a little bit of a faster player. And but when I got there, I found the speed like crazy, and I looked at all the guys and I was like, whoa, look at him. Like, look at him with his shirt off. He's jacked. And I found all the guys, everyone was in good shape. It was basically the best players from all the junior teams. We were for lack of a better term, a low end NCAA team. We weren't Michigan, or, we did okay, but we weren't dragging NHL picks, draft picks to as recruits, you know? So we went there, or I went there, and I say we, cause we both went to the same school, but I went there and I found the speed and the size of the players just the biggest difference ever. The defensemen were so strong. Even, you get to the end of your junior career, and I was 19, 20, so I was one of the older guys, and then you go there and it's, even the young guys are massive. If you're playing college at 18, 19, you're unreal. Yeah. Like you're strong, you're fast, you got everything. And if you're like me and when you were 20 and you're at the end of your career, you're 22, 23, you're big and smart and you don't get beat, and they're still fast. Like that was my biggest thing. And I kind of was thought about this a second ago, but you were talking about, you played with a chip on your shoulder and being a small guy. What's every small guy like? Oh, he's probably fast. Probably a goal scorer, and which a lot of them are, right? And I was that way. I was good with the puck. I was fast. When I look at the skill side of it, I'm like, when I got to college, I wish there would have been someone who's like, you're not the best player anymore. You're not Patrick Kane. Right. Not that I thought I was Patrick Kane, but you're not going to lead the league in points, which you're able to do. So let's change your game a bit, and it took me too long to figure out, let's be a bit of a different player. So when I saw how fast it was, I wish day one I would have realized, hey, like my role is going to have to change a little bit here, instead of being like, well, why aren't I on the power play? Yeah. Because everybody on this team was on the power play last year. Yeah. So I wish I would have had a skill guy to say, or somebody to say like, hey, why don't you be the best penalty killer on the team? and even though you're small, it's college. You don't have to worry about fighting or anything like that, but maybe change your game a little bit. And that was the first time that I realized, probably a little too late, just getting faster and stronger and shooting the puck harder and getting better at fakes isn't enough. You got to maybe change your mentality on how you play. Yeah. And not to say that that's, I didn't play in the NHL or, I played a little bit after that, but and that's not why. I just wish that I would have realized earlier, you can't just get faster and every year you have to get smarter. And I don't know that I did that for the first little bit. Did you ever have an experience like that where? Yeah. For sure. Like I know when college to me was the same thing. Like college is a big eye opener because you go from junior where you're like the top point getter, you're top in the league potentially, or top on your team or top couple guys. And you're a bit of the, playing every situation. Right. And then all of a sudden you go to college and you're like, man, these guys are good. And I'm coming in with other freshmen that are good and they're the best players on their team. So then your pecking order goes way down and you're on the fourth line, maybe getting healthied and, not playing a lot. And for those who don't know, we both went to Alabama Huntsville, which is an unreal program. They're really tracked a lot. They're doing a really, really good job. But when we went there, it was a Division I program, great opportunity, awesome place to play. But it would probably be like a D1B. Like we played Michigan State, we played all Bowling Green, all the big schools, a lot of the big schools, not all the huge schools, but a lot of the big schools. Did well against a lot of them. But we were never funding wise or, on the map as far as it's getting there. It's getting better for sure. But, so even at that level though, like maybe not being a Michigan State, still unreal players down there and compete and play with some of those schools and not get embarrassed and keep the score tight or beat them sometimes. Right. But it was definitely an eye opener. What I found with me is as I went through college, it kind of, your role changes. And this happens to a lot of college where, when you start as a freshman, you pay your dues, you kind of pay your lumps. And for sophomore, you get maybe a little more opportunity. Junior, you get more opportunity. Maybe you're getting what you need. And then as a senior, for the most part, junior, senior, if you're good, you're playing top minutes, you're playing, what you need. And that's kind of how it happened for me. But I mean, there was times in my first year I was going to quit. I was done. This is, brutal. I'm not playing. And like everybody, get a bit salty. It's their fault. I look back now and I wasn't that good. I mean, really, when I look, I'm like, I was not that good in my first year. I kind of learned as I went and got better and better and better. But to your point, I would have loved to have had someone say, listen, college is one thing. You're going to be a good college player because you can skate and you're tough and you can play hard. But if you want to play beyond college, which we both did, you're going to need to learn how to do this. And no one ever said that to me, where we talk to players like that now a little bit like, you may become a top 6 guy, but let's teach you how to be a good penalty killer, how to be a good 200-foot game guy, which I know is a cliche, but play both ends of the ring, play all 4 corners, be good on draws, block shots, whatever it is. But let's get that good. That's going to get you more ice time than trying to score 30 goals. Right. And that would have been nice to get some of that direction a little bit. Now there's more and more and more of that available to players through skill coaches or just media, even just, you can kind of figure out where you fit in. Just, if you're a smart player and kind of intuitive, you can kind of figure out what you need to do. But I think one of the biggest things is having that support group around you, whether it's a skill coach, it could be an advisor, an agent, whatever, parents that are giving you good sound advice and being honest about it. Yeah. Because your kid's a real good player in minor hockey and you're like, he's going to be unbelievable. He's going to go to the NHL. Maybe, but if not, he may be able to get there. But if you're pushing him as a 50 goal scorer and he's never going to be able to be that, there's no way he's ever going to do that. But now you push him as a good 2-way guy, win draws, work his tail off. He might actually be able to, the biggest thing too, I think, is for the players. And this happened to me when I was playing professional hockey, where I bought into my role. Yeah. And I was a way better player when I bought into my role. Right. And in the beginning, I just think I was kind of wishy-washy. I thought I was more than I was, or I thought I was better than I was. When I actually understood my role and bought into it, it changed my game. Sure. It changed how I played. It was unbelievable. Like I felt way more comfortable in my skin and my gear, But that's hard to see when you're young. It's hard for players. Obviously they're young, and even for parents that haven't been through it, and not to say that, with your 7-year-old, you're going to start telling them now, hey, listen, you really got to seal off the wall and make sure you don't get, right. But like when you are the best, growing up, Major Bantam, if you're the best player on your team, Major Bantam, you're probably going to go to minor midget and probably be the best player. It does take until you get to junior, but what do the best players just assume? Well, I think it's kind of like the rite of passage. It just happens in hockey communities like, London and Kitchener and everywhere. Shouldn't isolate it. It's everywhere. You just assume you're going to play AAA the next year. And then after AAA, you're going to play junior B, or then you're going to go to the OHL. And then after OHL, you're going to play pro, or you're going to go to junior B, then you're going to get a scholarship. And right after your scholarship, you're going to go, because they see the the 0.001% of kids that went to Michigan for 1 year and then went right to the NHL, or you know what I mean, or the OHL kids that went first overall, and then there's more to that. And even for those best players that are doing that, some of them had to change their game. So if we peel those layers back to, not the top 3% of players, to somewhere in the middle, like us, or low end, we were good and we got scholarships, but we were low end. Yeah. You really gotta be aware of the big picture. And the big picture is you're not that good, like you said.
Yeah, totally, right?
So what are you gonna do? What else do you bring? Are you a good guy? Are you not a good guy? All kinds of things come in play.
But I mean, there's classic examples of guys in the NHL that have added an extra couple of years to their career, and more in the minors that have added years to their careers because they're good guys. They're good leaders. They're good in the locker room. Around. Right? They're good with the players, good with the rookies. They help the rookies feel comfortable, all those kind of things, right? And I think those are things that are another skill set, really. Yeah. You're a good guy. You understand the game. You know your role. You're not complaining. You're not bringing the team down. A lot of those things I think are big assets to have as a player. There's no doubt about it.
But you say it's hard. Some of that, it's hard to go to the rink and work, college, pro, you're on the ice every day. It is hard to put 100 in every single day. Is it hard to be a good guy?
Right. No.
Some people it is. Some people, I know everyone has an off day.
Some people it's really hard though. Day in, day out, it's hard. Grumpy. Yeah. Even, I've been fortunate, obviously, to work with the Capitals and work with the Hershey Bears, but sometimes, I'll be at the rink sometimes and they'll be, a 25-year-old, I'm getting too old for this.
Well, what? Yeah.
Are you kidding me, man? I'm too old for this. You've been playing pro for 3 years. You're getting paid to play hockey. How good is that? It's a great day. But it's just that. And where did some of these guys learn this? They learned it from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, with a vet that was 35, that had 3 kids and just collecting a paycheck and miserable.
So you're seeing in the NHL, but it's the same thing in OHL, Junior B. You got a 19-year-old, a 20-year-old. It's he's just not fun to be around for some of these young kids. Well, what do you think that 16-year-old is going to be like at 19 if he's getting harassed every day? Just that guy's grumpy. Oh, that's what you do. You grow up and you teach the young guys to how much it's not fun here. No, be in the room. Be a good guy. And those guys are going to want to be there.
Yeah. So, speaking of pro hockey though, I'm going to go to that phone here. We're going to give Michael McCarron a call here and see, I want to get his insight a little bit on this kind of stuff and see what he's what his take is. I mean, obviously he played at the highest level, playing in the NHL and playing here in London for the London Knights and having a good run here.
Won a Cup.
Yeah.
Got traded. He's been through lots.
Yeah.
And now dealing with you guys. You guys will be dealing with an injury together.
That's it. Broken leg, bad shoulder.
Yeah.
Same thing. Exactly. All right. Okay, let's get this. This is all new right here. This is very new techie stuff that we've got going on here. So we'll get this connected and then we'll give Mike a call. All right. Here we go.
Blazer, what's up?
What's going on, Big Mac? How you doing?
Hanging in there, man.
Yeah, how is it? Shoulder?
Yeah. I heard well, you know how my labrum's been messed up for a while now. Yeah.
Hey, just so you know, just so you watch your F-bomb, your Michigan F-bombs, but you're on the air. We're not live, but you're on the air on the pod right now, so you're all good. Just keep chatting. But okay. Hey, we'll call it an upper body injury.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. No, so it says it's the same kind of thing though, right? Still bugging you, eh? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing that's been bugging me. It was 4 years ago. I went kind of crashing in the net in a preseason game.
Yeah.
And I hurt my shoulder going into the net there, and that's when I first came out. And then now it's just kind of been coming in and out for the past couple of years.
Man.
And this last one was not the best. But.
So did you have surgery on it then?
Yeah, I had to get surgery on it. I got surgery on my shoulder there, and everything seems to be on track. Yesterday was my 6-week mark, and everything seems to be okay.
Good. Are you able to move around pretty good now and stuff? You get good mobility and stuff?
Oh yeah, well, yeah, I can move around, and, like walk around and do all that sort of stuff, but like I still can't do any physical activity or like get my heart rate up or really do anything. I think that's my next step. I think that's right around 6 weeks where I am now, or in a couple more weeks. But
man, how frustrating is that, eh?
Yeah, it stinks because I was playing pretty well this year too. I was having a good start of the year. And,
man, you were just under a point a game. I saw that. It was really good.
Yeah, I was playing well, and I don't know, maybe would have got a look, but
yeah,
it's all right. I mean, it happened at a good bad time. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, no, good. No, it's good. Well, I mean, it's nice, obviously, to hear that your spirits are up and obviously you're on the mend and getting better and tracking the right way, which is always good, right?
Yeah. How are you feeling?
Good. Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, a little break in the leg, but I'll be all right.
That was bad, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Same thing. I'm getting out of it here now. So I'm hoping it will be
post surgery.
Pardon me?
How many weeks are you post?
Yeah, I'm 4. So coming up to my 4th week. So yeah, I'm hoping by week 5 I can weight bear, and then I'll hopefully get the jets back on. So I'm ready for you clowns.
You break both of the bones down there?
No, just my tibia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they had to cut you up pretty good. That was that.
Yeah, it was brutal, man. It sucked for the first couple of weeks were pretty painful, but after that, it's been okay actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hasn't been too
bad.
Well,
I'm glad you're starting to feel a little bit better as well.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, man. Hey, I got Kevy here too. Kev Galerno's on with us as well. And
hey, Kev, how's it going?
Good, buddy. Sounds like you're coming along nicely.
Yeah, I'm coming along nicely.
Yeah.
No.
So you're at home right now? You got mom's cooking at home right now?
No. I went home for 2 weeks, like a week before the surgery and then a week after the surgery, and then I came back up here for rehab. Because,
good.
So I'm here with Olivia, my girlfriend, and she's been cooking and feeding my belly.
There you go. Attaboy. Good. Yeah. Hey, we were having a conversation, and this is kind of why I want to chat with you. Just someone that's kind of played at obviously every level, but one of the things, what are a couple of things that you noticed when you went from, like, let's say minor hockey to the OHL? As far as, obviously you played high level minor hockey, you were a good player and stuff, but did you notice any major things when you went from minor hockey to the OHL? I'm going to ask you the same question about OHL to kind of pro and then pro to NHL, but what were some of the major things that you noticed? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously everyone's always going to say bigger, faster, and that's like the easiest thing to say. But like, if you look beyond that, like even into like systems and stuff, I remember coming to the OHL with the Hunters, and they actually let you play pretty freely and openly, but under their, like there's way more systems, I think, once you start making your way up.
Yeah.
And like being able, like, you can't just go out there and have your brain turned off. Like, I mean, unless you're scoring 50, 60 goals a year, and I'm not that kind of guy.
Yeah.
You have to play the systems. And I think that's what was hard on me. And obviously, like I said, the speed, it was OHL's. I mean, I look back on it now, it looks slow. And when I went into the league, I was like, I can't keep up. It was,
for sure, right? Yeah.
It's a fast league for how young you are coming in. And I think those are the two biggest for me.
Those. And the systems is a good one, because I agree with you. I think like some teams are more detailed than others, and you had an opportunity to win a Memorial Cup and go through obviously some good coaching, which is great, but some teams more than others. But how did that kind of playing in the O and going through system stuff, the speed, how did that help prepare you for your kind of first pro game? Like, so when you finished up your season, went down and had a chance to play a bit of pro after the OHL was done, what was that like, your first pro season?
I'm sorry. Can you like kind of explain that one more time?
Yeah. So like when you first started playing pro, like when you went to your first NHL camp and then your actual first season of professional hockey, like what was the biggest difference? Cause you looked at the O and you were an elite player at the O. So it was, you kind of had a good feel for it by the end, winning a Memorial Cup, Yeah. And when you go from there, kind of being the big dog in pro, what was it? Or sorry, big dog in the OHL. What was it like going to pro?
I was wearing my Memorial Cup like winter hat. Oh yeah, so you can imagine the chirps I was getting.
The boys were all over it.
Oh yeah, I was getting ripped for like this isn't that team anymore. Like get that stuff off, get that out of here. But no, that's just a funny side joke. But
no, it's great.
Yeah, it's definitely an eye opener, because I think in junior or in pro they kind of treat like the rookies a bit differently than in junior. In junior, everybody's kind of nice nicer than they used to be. I mean, I've heard some horror stories of the OHL older guys too, but like going into pro, you really are that much younger. There's guys on your team that have kids, that have families, and that like have been doing this stuff for 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
And you got to come in and try and be on the same level as a 15-year-old veteran with kids. That's it's definitely challenging, especially from coming from such a high and being a leader on my team and winning the Memorial Cup. Like you said, it was definitely really tough and challenging to come into the pro ranks just because everybody's so much older and wiser.
Yeah, totally. And I bet you a lot of the guys have their own routines too, right? Like in the OHL, like, hey boys, we're all going for lunch, here. And hey boys, I'll see you tonight at the pool hall or wherever you guys are going. Where in pro, I mean, a lot of the guys, like they've got put the kids down to bed. They've got different stuff going on when you're at home. So it's probably a little different that way as well, eh?
Yeah. It's everybody definitely lives like on their own in pro. I mean, obviously there's still team get-togethers and everybody's still very much a team, but it's a lot different. Everybody's got families to look out for. You can't go hang out and play Xbox with your buddies for 2 hours after practice. Yeah, you got to go home, take care of your kids and stuff for some guys. But then again, there's different groups on the team where the married families or guys with girlfriends will hang out, and the single guys will hang out together. And but I think at the pro level, the leadership's where it comes in and brings everybody together, and because it is hard to get together, like in the OHL.
Yeah, I know for sure. What is it on the ice, like as far as playing? Did you find the pro game a little bit easier than the OHL game? Meaning like guys are a little more skilled, obviously. Guys positionally are bought into the systems and know where guys are a little bit better. Did you find the game easier a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think that for this question, I think it's easier in the NHL than it is in the AHL. The AHL, everybody is in pro and AHL. Everybody's trying to really play as hard as they can to get to the NHL. Yeah, and everybody's hitting really hard. It's kind of more of a sloppy league than the NHL. I would say the AHL is not easier, so to say, than the OHL, but I do think the NHL is definitely easier. Everybody's I mean, let's be honest. Everybody in the NHL is the best players in the world. It's going to be easier to play there. And, if you can keep up with them. So, well, then is that probably the biggest thing? Like, it's easier because guys are in the right position. So if you make a quick blind pass up the wall, a guy's there, but it's also a lot harder because of how strong it is and how fast it is, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, guys in the NHL, like everybody normally says, just have your stick on the ice and the puck will find you. Well, in the NHL, it's usually the case. You're going to the net and you don't even see the puck and your stick's on the ice and the guy's going to pass and it's going to hit your stick. It's everybody's really dialed and very mentally prepared for every game and every shift, and that's why they're in the NHL. No, for sure, man. I got a couple of quick little rapid fires here that I want to ask you just before we kind of wrap up. But how sick was it to score your first NHL goal? It was pretty sweet, man. It was a good feeling. It was the game didn't go our way, but I remember at the end of the night we lost, and I don't want to say it, but I had a smile on my face. I was so excited. Got calls and texts from all my family, and it was definitely a special moment. No, that's awesome, man. How sick was it to get your first NHL paycheck? Honestly, I didn't even know it was going to be that big. It's like 4 or 5 times, even like 6 or 7 times what I would make in 2 weeks in the minors, for one check at Shell. It's definitely an eye opener. You feel like a baller, and then and then I'm right back in the minors. But no, it's cool. It's really good. Yeah, no, that's awesome. And how fun is the travel? I know sometimes it's a grind because you guys do have crazy schedules and you're playing and not even practicing that much, but you're playing so much and traveling a lot. But the travel, how sick are the planes and the meals and all that kind of stuff? Yeah, I was lucky enough to be the Habs organization, honestly, and the Habs treat their players and families very well, and our planes and meals are sick. We got it's like a big plane, 2x2 on each side, two chairs, like lazy boy chairs on each side. You get you get sushi sometimes, you get steaks, you get chicken at post game, you get hot meals or
Yeah.
It's like you're going to like a 4 or 5 star restaurant and you get it on the plane, and it's it's cool, especially being around guys like Bryce and Weber on the plane. It's definitely like a dream.
Yeah, it's probably a little surreal, eh?
Yeah, it's definitely surreal. And even still, like when I get called up and stuff, and I'm hanging out with them, I'm like, at some point, they're like your friends, and then you take a step back and you're like, wow, these guys might end up like in the Hall of Fame, and I got to play with them. It's pretty cool.
It's amazing.
Is there anyone on the team that when you do get called up that you're like, I really want to try to get like a little one-on-one conversation, or just like try to ask him something or hear from him because he's super funny or super nice or has great things to say?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, really everyone. Honestly, I have to have a good group in there, and every time I get called up, I like everybody. But I think for me, when my first time I was called up, when I first got called up, there was Carey Price, Pacioretty, and Subban, and those 3 guys. I mean, obviously they're household names if you're a hockey player, and
for sure,
it was really cool to get to know those guys, and like you said, have one-on-one conversations. They're normal people. They're not like they're your teammate. They're not something that you think they wouldn't. They're normal people.
Yeah, no, totally, man. Is it kind of surreal sometimes when you go on your phone and you got like, like whoever, Gallagher and Pacioretty's cell number in there? You're like, whoa, dude, I know these guys. Right?
There was actually, I was hanging out with my buddies last summer, and Gallagher was FaceTiming me, and I like turned my phone and I showed my buddies who was calling me, and they're like, no fucking. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. It's
like,
okay.
No way.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, I mean, any of us, like, as you know, all of us as like young kids, and all of a sudden you get that opportunity, like, it's definitely surreal, man. You watch these guys play when you were in the O, and you're watching these guys on Sports Center, and you're like, man, these guys are so good. And then fast forward 3 years, you're like getting dressed and showering with them. Kind of cool.
Yeah, I know. It's cool.
Yeah.
It is weird, man. It's weird how hockey takes you. It's awesome.
Yeah. No, that's great, man. Well, listen, buddy, I really appreciate your time. You're the first person I've ever had a phone call with on the pod. So that's something that we want to start adding to it. So you
good.
Yeah.
Groundbreaking.
Yeah. Groundbreaking, buddy. Yeah. Groundbreaking.
I'm glad I was available for you guys today. Our team's on the road. So good thing I was able to answer for you guys.
There you go, buddy. Well, listen, get better soon. And hopefully we'll see you this off season.
Thanks, Blazer. You too. Thanks, Blazer and Kevin. And have a good day, guys.
Okay, buddy. Take care. All right. Okay, bye.
That's always cool.
Yeah, it's great, right? Like, and just like right now, obviously, team's on the road and he gets a chance. Like, he's not unfortunately injured, which sucks. But just living that pro lifestyle, right? As far as your job is literally to get up at 8:30, go to the rink, practice, go home, take care of yourself, enjoy your day, and then in the AHL, he mentioned it there where the AHL is a bit more scrambly, maybe not as skilled, but. The AHL is definitely a development league, and it's a very good league. Obviously, great players, unbelievable skill there, but they do play a lot of like weekend games. They'll travel on obviously midweek games once in a while, but a lot of times it's 3-3s. Like the amount of 3-3s these teams play, it's crazy. Like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's
probably closer to an OHL schedule than it is an NHL schedule.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So they'll have times at home where they have like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, probably Monday off, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday practice, Friday maybe practice or pregame, and then games. So they do get a decent amount of time to practice. Whereas when you look at an NHL schedule, it's insane. We think, it's luxury, like private chartered planes and good meals, but they'll just speaking from what I know, with Washington, there's a couple of months where they had 2 legit practice days in a month.
Crazy.
Now they were on the ice maybe for 30 minutes here on a travel day or a pregame skate here, obviously on the ice, but full team practices where they didn't have anything else and a day off after, or another, back-to-back practices, 2 or 3 in a month, which that's insane, right? So you talk about trying to develop skills and things like that at the National Hockey League level. Sometimes it's hard because you're limited with ice, right? Yeah. So you try to do it a pregame skate, you try to do it on an off day if guys want to come in, or you do it at practice, Yeah.
And being, working with you and you being with Hershey and then with Washington, like even looking at your schedule where exactly what you said, you want to work with Hershey. You're like, oh yeah, this week they got 2 home games Friday, Saturday. So why don't you come in, skate Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? No problem.
Yeah.
Washington, you're jumping into Toronto when they're in town for, oh yeah, you can get 20 minutes at pregame skate.
Yeah.
Work with some, maybe a little bit with some guys before or after. Come into Washington and we'll try to, we'll get you a little bit of time here, but it's not, you're never getting that. Yeah. I mean, this is a question, not because I haven't been up there, but you're not getting those 3 days like you may get in Hershey when you go up there.
Yeah. And 100%. And Hershey's great because you do get like, I'll fly in, let's say Monday, I'll have Tuesday on the ice with the boys. I'll usually do a little bit before practice, stay for practice, do a bunch after practice if guys want to stay. Same thing with Wednesday, same thing with Thursday, sometimes same thing with Friday. So I'll get 4 days in with those players and work with the D, work with the forwards. If anybody wants individual stuff, so I'm around for all those days. And then if they're, driving out or playing on the weekend, then I'll stay for a game maybe, or I'll fly back. Where Washington, I'm in for like 48 hours. It's like fly in, maybe they have a practice, I'll run a couple of drills at practice, or maybe do a skill session with the D before practice, run a couple of drills, and then stay after practice for guys who want to stick around. But a lot of guys at the pro level, they've got families, they've got kids. When they're done, they're kind of work out, practice, whatever they're doing, they want to get going, they want to go home, see the kids, see the family, which totally makes sense, right? So it's just different than what we see, like, in not necessarily minor hockey, but in major junior or college, right?
Yeah. And I had a couple questions for you, even like, is there anything, and I want to go into the actual, difference in skills and maybe things you would work on with minor hockey players compared to junior, AHL, NHL, but specifically with the AHL to NHL, is there any, do you see a big difference if you're like, hey, I'm going to the, to Hershey today, and next week I'm going to Washington? Is there a big difference in what your plan is? And I don't mean like how much time you have, or you have 3 days, but like, let's say you have 3 defensemen, or 3 forwards, or 3, whatever, small group. Is there a difference in what those guys are doing?
Some of it's very similar, obviously. Like there's some of the skills going to be very similar at the NHL level, because a lot of times they're playing, different schedule and things like that. It'll keep things. We won't dissect things a ton. And what I mean by that is we won't go into breaking down, picking up passes or anything like that, which sounds real elementary, but I will do that with AHL guys a little bit and talk a little bit more through that, maybe more detail. Whereas with the NHL guys, it's more concept stuff, move the puck quick here. And if I see hitches and stuff, or something that they're maybe doing inefficiently, for instance, maybe a player's got his hands too tight on his stick. And man, if you just slide that hand down, you're way more powerful to make that pass or make that shot or whatever you're doing with it. I'll address that stuff with them, but trying to keep things a little more high level. And one thing,
so you're watching games,
watching games a ton, watching practice, like when I'm there, obviously, but watching a lot of games, and I'll see tendencies, like for instance, a defenseman that's overcommitting and is too far on his toes and gets beat. Or a forward who maybe, I went through it with Tom Wilson a little bit, where he was going in on forechecks, but his stick was erratic. And that's the most important tool he has. And he's a good forechecker. He's good at hitting. He's all that stuff. But he'd go in and stick be over here instead of being stick on puck, and then get puck, then body. And just making him aware of that. Not that he couldn't do it. He just wasn't aware. It's like, my body's all over the place, and just talking to him a little bit about it. And
they're pretty receptive generally.
The guys have been amazing, especially at the NHL level. A lot of times you think, these guys don't need skill development, and they want it. A lot of these guys want to just get touches. They want to work on like young kids. They want to work on saucer passes. They want to work on knocking pucks out of the air. They want to work on picking up pucks in their feet. And one thing we really hammer on at both the AHL and the NHL levels is that awareness. The stuff that you see Nicholas Backstrom or Sidney Crosby or Connor McDavid do, they're always looking around. They know where guys are. They're throwing what we think are blind passes out in front, and the guys are knocking them in like, oh, it was a blind pass. No, a couple seconds before he made that pass, he took a look. He knew, he saw a gray jersey, knew guy was there, threw it there. So really working with guys on just shoulder checking and looking around. And it sounds super elementary, but it's really hard. And if you've ever carried a puck in the zone on a 2-on-1 or 3-on-2 and actually looked over your shoulder to see where that D was coming back, like as a second wave of offense, it's not easy. And you watch it in games, guys doing it live and just like checking around. It's really difficult.
It doesn't matter what day this comes out. You can watch the highlights tomorrow morning, and you'll find 3 times. Doesn't matter when it is. And you're going to say, how do you see him? How did he know that guy was there? Or how do you know that guy was coming? Why do you, and spin that way? And you think, oh, he got lucky. He didn't get lucky. Didn't get lucky.
No,
he knew.
Exactly. Yeah. And you get the odd time where guys get lucky, but no, you're right. And then at the HL level, because it's more of a development league, those guys really want to get in the NHL. Maybe they're not. They've maybe been on the cusp a little bit, but they may have a little bit more to work on. Some of them are amazing, and they're pretty polished. They're just there's a lot of D up there right now, so it's hard to get up, right? But really, maybe getting a lot more video maybe with them, like individual video with them, and then really trying to break down little things that maybe they're doing inefficiently. Maybe they're overcrossing as a defenseman. They're taking too many backwards crossovers when they're transitioning, or their body's moving too much when they're making plays with the puck, or just little things like that. But trying to get a little more detailed with them, and really trying to look at what the NHL guys are doing and trying to get the AHL guys do the same thing. So for instance, you look at good NHL defensemen, they underhandle the puck.
Yeah.
When they get the puck, they push, make a play on the blue line. They're not overhandling it unless you're Carlson or Burns or something.
Of course.
But for the most part, so at the AHL level, trying to get some of those young D that are coming in to start doing that. And it's amazing to see them come in as a young defenseman in junior who could score 20 goals from the blue line and dangling
you
everywhere.
said this earlier, like when we went to school and you said, I got there and I realized I wasn't very good. And I don't mean this way it sounds, but some of these young AHL defensemen coming from major junior, you know what I mean? The CHL, they could probably get there. And yeah, they were a second or third round pick or maybe a first round pick, whatever it is. And they're there and they're like, whoa, those guys are way better than me, you know? And even though you were the best D in that league, now you're in the AHL and you still have a couple years to develop to get to the NHL, but you probably work with some guys maybe that are like, no, but a lot of other guys that are like, I'm not that good compared to those guys. I have to do this better. And they're willing to do things that you're working on with the minor midget team. You know, like you said, picking up a sauce on your backhand and then getting a shot. You know, maybe with them, you're like you said, you're making sure as they pick it up, they know who's coming at them and where their other guy is, and they're making a quick pass. But I'm sure some of those guys probably feel that way. That get there and they're like, whoa.
Oh yeah, it's an eye opener for a lot of them.
Are good.
Yeah, to see how good that AHL, that pro level is, right? Even guys down in the East Coast League to coming up to the AHL, they're all good leagues, man. And getting to that NHL. The nice thing about the AHL is you still, for a lot of these young guys, there's still that opportunity of potentially playing in the NHL. So there's a big carrot there, right? And we heard Mike talk about it, McCarron, about just the salary jump. Right, you could go from $70,000 a year to $800,000 a year in the NHL, which is insane. So for a lot of them, there's a lot of motivation there to make that jump or try to make that jump, right? And I think when you get to the NHL level, that it's a different motivation. They want to get a better contract. They want to. So now you're playing on that a little bit more than you would be on, hey, buddy, if you could do this, this is what they're doing at the NHL level. You can't go to the NHL and say, hey, this is what they're doing at that level. You can say this is what so and so is doing, but even at the NHL level, trying to compare a defenseman on Carolina to a doesn't work. Yeah. Unless it's a young guy who's still got that kind of NHL stars in their eyes. But for some of these D that have been around for 5, 6, 7 years, they don't want to be compared to another D in the league. Yeah. Right. Just compare me to me and work on what I need to work on. They don't want, so you really got to kind of manage, where you are and respect where you are and what these players have done. And then, you kind of know how to motivate. And then after
like 12 and 14 years, they're like, hey, I got to be a good guy. So they'll keep me around and I can keep paying for my 4 kids and my mortgage. Like,
or they come to me and say like, how do I get faster?
Yeah.
I told you how to get faster 14 years ago. You didn't listen to me.
Exactly.
And now you want me to help you get faster? What's going on here?
It's for one more bridge contract.
Yeah. I just want a 1 year. Just want 1 year, $1 million. That's all I want. Yeah. But it's funny though, because a lot of the stuff that you work at that level, the NHL, AHL, you're working on the same thing down here with minor hockey players, right? Guys and girls, you're working on those same little fundamentals. And it's a simple skill that every coach that has coached minor hockey and pro is always bitched about is picking up a backhand pass on the fly, right? Like that's just something that if you think about it, like, it's hard to do and players have a hard time doing it. But man, if you can teach a young kid at 10, 11, 12, 13 to do that and consistently pick up backhands, everything on their backhand, by the time they get to that junior pro, it's a no-brainer. They don't have to worry about that anymore. Or in their feet, like you said, like they make bad passes. Sure. You watch TV, the Leafs make bad passes all the time. You don't see it. Yeah. And Mike's a good example, we just talked to, but he comes back and he's awesome to work with. Yeah. Because he's like, what do you want me to do? Really maybe today is something it's outside his reach. It's really hard. And tomorrow's something it's a little easier, like just picking up a backhand pass. But listen, we're going to throw bad passes at your backhand, or we're going to just throw really good hard passes today, or whatever. Like simple. Sometimes it's not that difficult. Or no, today, he's the guy that would be like, just want to do quick starts today. Want to do a ton of just like change of direction, whatever. But those guys are fun when they come back to town and you don't have to travel. Totally. And they're coming right here. They're coming they're right on your back door, and they just want to do little skills to make them just a little better here, a little better there, because they see the difference that some of those good guys are. Already good at. Yeah. And something else in my guys like McCarron and those guys that are up and down and still trying to get over that hump. What do you see? Like, let's say now you're in Washington and you're seeing those, they're not worried about, getting sent down. They're legit NHL, or not only are they legit NHL, they're one of the best. What do you see as what's separating those high end guys? And let's take out, Crosby and Kane and those guys, but like those steady NHLers that are good, what keeps them there? And is it just the small things like you were talking about before? Yeah. Like the good guy and stuff? Or? I mean, guys like just on a personal for me, cause where where I am in Washington. But I mean, like you look at a guy like even Ovechkin, and I mean, obviously, same category as Crosby, but just a beast, like a big guy, powerful, strong. You know, trains hard. Like he's fed. He's big. I mean, he's a bit in a class of his own. If he's going to score 58 times, I mean, that's a little different. But guys like Oshie, phenomenal player, but works his tail off, wants to get better. Good guy. You talk about a good guy, like just a good team guy, nice to everybody. Like, you know, Backstrom, same thing, like unbelievable. The details in their game, and Kuznetsov, same thing. You watch him skate on the ice, you'll literally just sit and watch sometimes just how skilled he is and how smooth he is, you know. But a lot of those guys are just like, remember we were doing a drill the one time where we were rimming a puck around the boards and start of a drill, just a warm-up drill for Washington, and the guys are coming in, and you know, if I'm a righty, I'm going to pick it up as a righty, come in off the wall, and the goal was to take it off the wall quickly. So don't push it down the wall, take it off the wall quickly. And I believe it was on the probably coming around the right side because he's a lefty, comes down like this, just switches his hands over. So now he's a left-hand shot with the right-hand stick in his hand with the wrong curve, taps it off the wall, comes in, gets a shot. And I skate in the corner, I'm like, sick move. He just kind of looks at me again a lot. Like he's hilarious, but skill guys like that, like just the stuff they can do, and just naturally sometimes they're just. If I gave him a golf club and said, "Hey, hit these 2 buckets of balls," I bet you'd be okay at it by the end, and probably you know, keep up with someone that's not that, you know, like it's just the way they are, right? But a lot of these guys, a lot of them, what I notice is number one, work ethic for a lot of them, and just work hard. The detail stuff is huge, like picking up rims, wall work. All that kind of stuff that is really important in games. And
they probably like it. That's the first thing we started off with. They you know, Kuznetsov, whether maybe he thought that was stupid or maybe he was like, nah, maybe my hand's being held by a guy and I have only that one hand on the stick and I gotta, you know, I don't know. It could be a bunch of different things, but he, like you said, they like working on stuff like that.
Totally.
Like, no, I can do that already. I'm good. No, they're like, no, let's do it again. Yeah. Do it from this angle, do it with more speed, more pressure, whatever. Yeah. And that's probably why, you know, that's why they bring guys like you in, not because they need you to be there. Yeah. And it's guys want you there.
Totally. And it's a bit of a different voice, right? It's maybe like a lot of times in the NHL, the AHL, it's a lot of systems, like and because you have to, like Mike was talking about, McCarron was talking about how much systems there are in pro hockey. It's crazy. Face-off plays, everything's kind of somewhat of a guideline on a play that they're running. So when you do a drill that's got a lot of skill in it and a lot different for the guys, it's great because it's something refreshing. So it's just a different voice, some different feedback, some different concepts to focus on rather than how you're attacking a zone or how you're back checking. But hey, when you get your shot, make sure you add movement to the puck or make sure you're looking off the play and then shooting the puck and just focusing on different things for them. Sometimes it's refreshing, I think, and a little bit different, right?
And you probably don't find too many egos when you get up there. There's no assistant coach like, whoa. You know, they're like, hey, this is what you weren't at last Wednesday's game. This guy didn't do this well. All right, and you're like, let's do this. Yeah,
and for someone in my role too, you know, as a skills coach, I'm there to compliment what the coaches are doing and what the players are doing. I'm not there to try to become an assistant coach. I'm there to hopefully, you know, add a different voice to it, maybe add a different look to it, you know, maybe add a different way of doing a drill or different way of approaching a skill or something like that. And my goal when I go to the AHL, NHL, OHL, wherever I'm working is to work with the coaches. I don't know everything. I'm not the be all and end all. These guys know the players way better than I do. They watch more video than anybody. They're with these guys every day. So we'll work together and kind of build programs and build practices and build skill stuff that we need to do for the group and then individually as well, and kind of set up plans for guys as they're moving forward and kind of through the system, right? And the goal for me is being a small part of maybe one of those young guys getting an opportunity to play in the NHL. And then maybe being a small part of one of those guys, maybe signing a bigger deal after his entry level or as he's going on in his career, you know, and maybe, you know, building that relationship with somebody where they trust what you say and, you know, they actually listen to you when you're talking to them, you know?
And I mean, you told me this story, but some of the young guys who started out in Hershey who are now in Washington kind of, you know, after they got their feet wet and they got in there, they enjoyed seeing you up there again, you know, because they didn't just make the NHL and be like, oh, I did it.
Right. Yeah.
I did it. Like, no, maybe it's the same stuff or different stuff or new stuff you're working on, but they want to keep going. It's fun for them. They want to keep going at it. They don't just get there and get there.
Totally. And and that was one of the cool things for me when I was up there this year, bunch is hearing that from some of the young guys where, man, we kind of missed the skill development when we were doing it. sometimes it made our day long and we're like,
Yeah.
oh man, you know, but now that we don't have it, like, man, we really we miss it. And we want, and a lot of those guys stayed out with me for 20, 30, 40 minutes after practice, just working on stuff, you know, and it was cool. It was really cool.
Good. It's cool. I mean, you get the same thing with kid. Like, I mean, I get the same thing and with a tyke, a peewee, whatever. They're like, they just they want to be out there.
For
the
sure.
Zamboni's not coming out. We're going to stay. You know, a little difference with the pro guys. They get, you know, they're a little different, but same principle. Like they want to stay for 20 minutes with you. And they, you know, not to say they wouldn't have got to the NHL without you. They were already pretty good, but they want to continue to, they want to continue to just work on little things, you know? So that's
but I mean, from minor hockey all the way to the NHL, right? There's similarities all the way through. Yeah. And whether you're a 5-6-year-old kid with a father who loves hockey, builds an outdoor rink for you, like, I think it's just so important to, number one, have fun. And even at the NHL level, those guys enjoy it. 99% of them have fun. They enjoy it. They love it, right? So make sure you're having fun at the young ages. Make sure you're, you know, working on the right stuff and getting the right direction. Any ice is good ice, working on stuff, but you can also waste time, right? So try to find the right resources. There's tons of resources out there now, but trying to find the right resources and stuff that you can use and work and getting your son, daughter, whoever, that kind of right skill development stuff. And then if they enjoy it, open doors, help them kind of keep pushing through each level. If they're going from minor hockey to junior to college to whatever, and enjoy the process, right? But the better you can prepare them, I think, as a parent or a coach for each level as they're moving through, the better success that player is going to have.
And when they're young, right? Like, help them. Like you mentioned, you know, a while ago, but there's a skill guy or someone to help on every corner. So just find the right guy for you. Yeah. One might not be right because they don't, you know, like it as much as we do. They don't love it, so they don't put effort in. But other guy might just not be the right fit. Yeah, might have a different idea than you do, and that's okay. You just find the right guy for you, and parents can help their kids. You know, at the younger age groups, you can do that. Yeah, you know, and then you get older, and you work with the pro guys, and I'm sure you've had conversations with guys, and they're like, you know, what about this? You're like, no, that works. Just got to make sure when you're doing it, you know, more. What's the word you used? It was more not systems, but like game situation. You know, less breaking down the actual skill, and you know, as you get older but younger, find a skill guy or someone that's helping, whether they're giving you advice or on the ice with you. That's and you would do the same thing if you had piano lessons. You wouldn't sit there and take piano lessons from someone that wasn't invested in. No, exactly.
And I think like when parents are looking for skills coaches, when you're looking for a skills guy, skills girl, whatever it is, your best measuring stick, I feel, is always the kid. Yeah. And you know, when your player's out with that person, if they enjoy it, they're having fun with it, and you as a parent being a conscious consumer and seeing, okay, my kid is getting better. Okay, they're correcting, they're looking at mistakes, they're talking to my kid. To go through an hour's semi-private lesson with 4 or 5 kids and hardly got corrected, hardly got talked to, what's the money going towards? You know what I mean? And making sure that it's a good fit for your son, daughter, and for yourself as well, that you feel like it's money well spent. And if your player's getting better and they seem to be tracking the right direction, then, I mean, that's the main thing, right? Is they're enjoying it, they're having fun, and they're getting better. And if that's those 3, you know, boxes are checked to start off as a foundation, then great. You know, they're enjoying it, good, right? They're having fun. Obviously, they're enjoying it. Yeah, they're getting better, and you know, they seem to be applying what they're learning on the ice. Perfect. Yeah, kind of go from there, right? But well, listen, buddy, I want to thank you a lot for coming in today. We'll do this again. Obviously, you're going to be one of my top guests. So, no, it's always good to talk about skill and kind of, you know, chat about a bunch of different, you know, different things that are going on in the skill development world and stuff. So now
next time we do this, you walk in.
Yeah. No crutches. And now with my phone call option here, we're gonna be making some calls for sure. So.
One of these days, maybe we'll call you while you're on the road.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Perfect. All right, thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, it's fun.
Take care.